Alright, welcome back to my Silent Hill 3 knife only hard difficulty guided walkthrough. In the previous episode we went through the hospital, and in this episode we are returning to the iconic amusement park from the first game, and of course where this game started in the dream sequence of the prologue.
Ah, hell.
This area is going to be a lot more straightforward than previous areas, as this part of the game is quite linear. Well, to an extent at least. But if you haven't played this game on hard before, there's actually one little surprise that might catch you off guard. But first let's go and get the key to the roller coaster controls, get some healing items and save the game. Definitely don't forget the ampoule here. Healing items are becoming really scarce now. And the next boss, and the final boss in the next episode, will likely get you to use every last one of them. Move a bit back here because the enemy is blocking your way, so you can't force yourself past it. So now we got the key to the roller coaster, we can immediately run towards it. There are no items here for you to pick up. You have to move quickly here, because those spinning enemies can fly all the way up next to the stairs, so if you are too slow, they will be in your way when you're going up here. There's a health drink here and you can then shut off the roller coaster, but for some reason it will automatically come back on, and what saves you is the fact that you jump off in time. So what difference actually turning off the roller coaster was supposed to make is, well, that's anyone's guess. Oh, and make sure to walk slowly on the rails, because you can actually fall off. So running can actually get you killed.
I hired you to find the girl, and you performed serviceably. What is it now?
You lied to me about Heather, lady. I don't like being used.
Lie? What lie?
That Heather was kidnapped from you.
But it's true. She was originally one of us. That man, Harry Mason, stole her away and kept her hidden from us.
Yeah? Well, she says she was happy.
She was brainwashed by him, deceived, because her true self had not yet awoken. She carries God within her. But when Alessa, Mother of God, truly awakens,
Yeah? What's gonna happen?
she will usher in the eternal paradise.
What kind of place is that?
A place with no pain, no hunger, no sickness, no old age. There will be no greed or war, and all will live by God's grace alone.
No this, no that, no nothing. A paradise. For castrated sheep, maybe. Sounds pretty boring.
I pity you. You still don't understand. You're going to kill me? Is it really so easy for you?
I've done it before.
Then I truly do pity you.
Okay, so now we're getting to the haunted house section, and the first part is just exposition and really slow, so I'm skipping through that and immediately cut to the room with the spikes on the ceiling. And the reason I'm including that room is because on hard, the spikes actually hit you, unless you are in attack position, because that lowers your posture just enough. After all, there is no crawling animation. Yeah, it's a bit lame and a bit hard to figure out, because it's such a minute difference if you ask me. But that's what the game expects you to do. Okay, I really hate this part, because the only reason it's difficult is because of the controls and the camera. Because each time the camera angle changes, the control changes as well. So basically at every turn you need to stop, and otherwise you will accidentally steer Heather straight into the red light, and it drains your health in about a second or so. The next parts have quite a lot of enemies. Fortunately, the big ones are rather slow, so they are easy to avoid. But be careful of the dogs. Also, there is no map for this area, so you pretty much have to know exactly where to go. Stick to the left here until you reach the gate, and immediately past the gate you need to act quickly because there are multiple enemies within a confined space, and don't be an idiot like me and take a hit because you bump your head against the gate. For some reason I am just constantly bumping my head against everything in this game. I don't remember much from my first playthrough, but I do remember getting stuck in this area because of the chain that you need to pick up. It pretty much blends into the background, so it took me ages to even find it in the first place. Then you need to pick up the red shoe for later, and if I recall correctly, there is a healing item here on normal, but on hard mode there isn't. As I said, healing items are becoming really scarce from now on. So here you need to attach one end of the chain to the rusted gate and the other end to the carnival ride. Other than that, there is nothing to pick up. Well, handgun bullets, but we obviously don't need those.
Douglas,
You're late.
are you hurt?
I can't move my right leg. I think it's broken.
I'll call an ambulance.
Wait. I don't think one will come. Don't worry. I'm used to it.
You old fool! Getting yourself hurt like that.
Sorry.
Why did you have to do that for me? What'll I do if you die?
What'll we do if this god thing gets born?
Come on. How powerful could a god from a dump like this be? I'm sure it'll be no big deal.
Yeah, but anyway, something is gonna happen.
Who knows? Maybe we'd all be better off if it did.
But if this is how a god of mercy acts, I don't want to see any more of him. That's a pretty good reason to risk my life, don't you think? Plus, I'm just an old fool, right?
What? You think you're Superman or something?
You know, I always wanted to be him. Besides,
Yeah?
I want to help you out.
You don't have to feel responsible. I know it's not your fault.
You remind me of my son.
You said nobody was going to cry for you.
Dead people don't cry. Stupid kid. Got himself shot robbing a bank.
But why?
Maybe because his pop was a penniless good for nothing. Who knows? Anyway, I guess now I'll never find out. Sorry. I shouldn't have said you reminded me of a guy like him.
Well, maybe if you had compared me to your daughter. Listen, I'll take care of the rest. You stay here, and I'll be back when it's over.
You'll be okay by yourself?
Hey, no problem. Besides, my dad's not around anymore. So only I can do this. What are you doing?
Maybe killing you here is the only way to end this nightmare.
Yeah, you might be right.
There's a save point to the right here. You can also find Douglas's notebook, but even though it says that you are supposed to return it to him, you can return to him to get another cutscene, but this notebook has no actual purpose. I've never tried to get the possessed ending, so perhaps it has something to do with that. I'm not sure. There's also a doll set that you need to pick up. In fact, you will immediately need to use it in the next area, together with the red shoe. As I said, this part of the game is rather linear, which is actually a good thing since there is no map for this area. And then it's almost time already for the next boss fight. This part is tricky because there were a lot of enemies. And I actually took a hit because I went into the wrong direction. I also thought that there was a healing item over here, but that's actually in the next area on the bench. In fact, that's already one of the final healing items in the entire game. Okay then, now it's time for the fight against Alessa, and mechanically this is the hardest part of the game. So make sure to heal up and equip the bulletproof vest, because we're going to do a lot of parrying, and as I said way back in episode 1, the bulletproof vest prevents you from taking damage even when doing a successful parry. Because without it you take a slight amount of damage each time you do a parry. Alright, before the fight starts, the merry-go-round will start turning and the horses will come to life, and you have to kill every one of them, which is a bit lame because it takes forever to do with a knife, and moreover, the horses don't have any attacks, so it's just a tedious grind stabbing all the horses to death one by one before the actual fight begins. So I'm speeding things up here. Alright, knife versus knife, at least for now, because this fight consists of multiple phases where Alessa will go through multiple weapons. The first phase is all about parrying and counterattacking, but this is easier said than done, because Alessa's attacks can be rather quick. Fortunately, you can get some free hits in when she walks away, but you have to be careful that she can immediately turn around and start attacking again. During the knife phase you won't take that much damage even if you get hit a lot, because her knife, like yours, is very weak. But she will soon change weapons and that means her damage output will increase, while your damage output will remain the same. Another annoying thing is that the horses can obstruct your view. However, as soon as she gets into her gun phases, these horses become your saving grace, at least to an extent, because you can hide behind them because they block her shots. Also, when you go and check how much health you have, the background is already red, so it can be hard to see what color your health indicator actually is. And like the other fights, endurance is key, because this is a long fight. Okay, second phase. She will now be using a handgun, so that means that she can do a ton of damage. Fortunately, she waits a pretty long time to shoot. So when you hear a click, you can circle around her and hit her from behind. And when you are attacking her close up, she will actually start hitting you with the gun, meaning that it becomes similar to the knife phase again. However, when she runs away, that means that she can fire at you again. So another good strategy is to hide behind the horses, because she cannot shoot through them. But in essence, the best thing to do is to constantly chase her around to get close to her, so she will switch back to melee attacks. Okay, third phase. Now she attacks with the iron pipe, so back to pure melee attacks. But the obvious difference between this and the knife phase is that she has more reach now and her attacks also do a lot more damage. So successful parries become a lot more important now. Fortunately, it's also easier to parry her in this phase because her attacks are a lot slower. You can actually dodge her attacks in the pipe phase, but it can be tricky to do. Basically, if you move to her side when she is in her startup animation, you are already outside of her hitbox and you can stab her in the back. Okay, final phase, and now she has a machine gun. It's similar to the handgun phase, but when you circle around her, she can turn around while firing, so that means that you can get caught in a salvo of bullets. The individual bullets do less damage than the ones from the handgun, but a salvo of bullets obviously can drain your health very quickly. Fortunately, like the handgun phase, she'll start hitting with the gun when you get close. So basically the same tactics still apply. This is the final phase, so just persevere until she finally goes down for the final time. Okay, that was quite a grueling fight, and I went through quite a lot of healing items, which is not good. Because now we're getting to the final area of the game, and there are very few healing items left in the game to be found. And even though mechanically the fight against Alessa was the hardest, the fight against God is over 40 minutes in length, and you take massive damage from each hit. So let's get to the final area, the chapel.
How did you get here? It was Vincent, wasn't it? He led you here. When will he cease his meddling? but it's just as well. Luring you here also serves my purposes.
Checkmate.
Not yet. The time is not yet at hand. The time when all will be forgiven their sins. When the paradise we have long dreamed for will arrive. After the judgment and atonement, an eternity of bliss. Oh, Alessa, the world you wanted is nearly here.
That's not what I want.
Not you. Alessa. Your true self.
But I am Alessa. My little Claudia. My dear, sweet sister.
Alessa? Is it you? Oh, how I've missed you.
I don't need another world. It's fine the way it is.
But you said it yourself. The world must first be cleansed with fire.
But that's not what I want now.
Alessa, don't you want happiness? Have you become blind to all the hopeless suffering in the world? We all need God's salvation.
Listen, suffering is a fact of life. Either you learn to deal with that, or you go under. You can stay in your own little dream world, but you can't keep hurting people. Besides, I'll never forgive you for hurting my father.
I wish only for the salvation of mankind. But for that to happen, the world must first be remade. And for that, we need God.
You self-righteous witch! No one asked you to help!
God is growing within you. You despise me, don't you?
You're damn right I do!
That's good.
Don't forget to pick up the card before saving, and then I hope to see you back for the final episode.